There's been a lot of atrocities committed in fiction, events that would make even the most hardest of Sigma males shed a tear. So let's rank the worst massacres in fiction from A to F tier, with only the most absolute heinous one being in the S tier, atrocity. So grab a box of napkins, leave the lotion though, yo, what's cool with you? Because these events gonna have you crying. Starting with an immediate A tier, stand ready for my arrival, worm, all of Invincible. No. Specifically Omni-Man's train and conquest of beach scene. Oh my god, I'm starting to believe the Invincible verse gotta be the worst place to live. It's literally every other day some world-ending calamities taking place. You never know when some Ranama alien's gonna come down and level half the planet. The moment Nolan and Mark started fading, all of New York got packed up. Just recovering from one of Nolan's punches took out like what, 10 city blocks? And imagine if you're this little kid, your home is falling down on you. Your mom is about to fall to her doom. And right when you thought help had arrived, the building collapses and squishes everyone. Nolan pulls up and he has the audacity to blame Mark for the thing that's occurred. Mark obviously ain't too happy to be gaslit, so he tries to fight back. But we all know how much of a fraud he is. And then it happens. Grabbing bro by the head and using him as a human meat grinder against the train. Oh my goodness! The bodies are endless. Just imagine if you're one of the survivors. My god, son, the PTSD is gonna feed generation of therapists. At least there were survivors of this scene. Mr. Calm and Reasonable Conquest left no such thing. Arguably worse than Nolan. After packing up a city, Conquest beats the brakes off Mark, grabs bro by the head,
No Diddy,
and with the sheer force of their speed on a Sonic type beat, eradicates a whole city of people. Bruh, even the children weren't spared. I honestly have no idea how Mark hasn't lost his mind after going through 2 whole experiences like that. Easy A tier. But we ain't done yet. We going back to back on A tier. Oh, what's that? I'm getting a transmission. Commander Cody, execute Order 66. Order 66 is the most heartbreaking massacre in all of fiction. Once Anakin packs up Mace Windu, everything afterwards is nothing but sadness and sorrow. Bruh, the clones were so close with their Jedi battalion, man. They were forced against their will to betray them. Seeing our boy Commander Cody blast Obi-Wan like that after everything they've been through, after Obi-Wan saved him in the Clone Wars, damn! It wasn't even just Obi-Wan's relationship with his clones. The GOAT, Plo Koon, one of the few who viewed his clones as brothers, telling him that their lives mattered more to him than the mission.
Sergeant, why are you so certain no one is coming?
We're meant to be expendable.
Not to me.
Something the clones would never hear, now being forced into packing him up because of Palpatine. The sheer negative aura of the event got Yoda on his knees. But it wasn't just the massacre itself. Everything that occurred afterwards was even more horrifying. The cruel and violent dictatorship of the Empire destroying whole planets. Because why? They wanted to. Packing up Ranama civilians throughout the galaxy just because the Sith felt like it. Order 66 is not just one of the most tragic events in cinema, but fiction as a whole. And of course, what Anakin did to the younglings. This dude packed up a whole group of children, innocent children. Bro, I'm like 95% sure Sidious ain't even asked bro to do all that. That was just pure Black Air Force energy. Speaking of a genocide, our first C tier, the genocide of the air nomads. Now real quick, if you guys are enjoying the video, leave a like. I'm trying to get out of the hood for real. Man, this was tough. Seeing this event happen during the Netflix live action was so heart-wrenching. The Fire Nation had found out the next Avatar would be an airbender, so Fire Lord Sozin ordered his army to invade and wipe out all of the airbenders. That is literal demon timing. Under most circumstances, the airbenders would have packed up these clowns, but since the comet was powering up the Fire Nation, there was nothing the air nomads could have done. The soldiers were dead out, burning the nomads alive. Ships launched fire rocks at the temple, burning everything to the ground. This legit felt like a real-life massacre that could have happened in human history without the powers, of course. And of course, Gyatso, the absolute mad lad unit, did everything he could to protect everyone, but the numbers and the stats buff advantage was just too much. These monsters didn't even spare the children, man. Anakin would be so proud. And what made this even harder to digest was seeing Aang's reaction to it. Bro had no idea his people got murked, so seeing the remains of Gyatso's body, man, only a demon could watch that without shedding a tear. But what gave me goosebumps was when all of the Avatar shrines started glowing, signifying the return of the Avatar. With despair comes hope. Alright, moving on to the next C tier. Stand proud, JJK. C tier is pretty good too. The absolute destruction of Shibuya. 230,000 people were all wiped away because Sukuna wanted to bully Jogo. The fate itself was immaculate. One of the best animated fights in anime, period. Jogo got the absolute brakes beat off him, but man, you want to talk about collateral damage? The entire city was burning down into a crisp on a Nero Type B. Everything in sight, be it people or buildings, which by the way, were filled with people, melted away, burnt alive. I've never in my life seen a city melt. What kind of shit is that? Imagine if you're living in one of those buildings. Bruh, don't even. This dude Jogo used your home as a weapon just for it to be ineffective. Bro, your death was absolutely for nothing. Except for this frame, of course, of Sukuna aura farming. Skyscrapers just disappearing off the face of the earth, and if it couldn't get any worse, this dude Jogo drops a whole meteor on the city. All while Sukuna was treating that shit like a game. Bro, this entire city just became tar and flames. I bet hell looks better than Shibuya at this point of the fade. Just like the Air Nomads, the only reason it's in C tier is because of its scale. Sukuna destroyed only one city, while Conquest and Nolan destroyed like what, parts of the planet? Next up is our last C tier.
Remember, no Russian.
Now look, I know it was just an airport, but being able to control the character while doing this T attack is beyond diabolical. You gotta understand, when this mission first came out, gaming was in its golden age, before the attack of the Karens. Whole news channels would slander the great Modern Warfare 2 due to this mission. No Russian was one of the most influential moments in gaming history. Seeing and being able to control this type of brutality and violence, honestly till this day felt kinda wrong. People were running for their lives, crawling on the ground, and the game made you pack them all up. It's the closest thing you could ever get to a T simulator. The idea that people can do this kind of stuff in real life, my mind can't even fathom it. Experiencing it in the game almost made me sick. And then after you got out of the terminal, the Russian special forces pull up and you gotta smoke them all too. And you gotta remember, those are the good guys that you're shooting. And what made this even worse was the ending, where Makarov sniffs you out and...
That was no message. This is a message.
Now for our only D tier. I had to add this because this was the event that gave me the idea for this video. The Red Wedding. Now for those who saw this when it dropped, bruh, social media became a hellscape. The amount of people who were talking about this was insane, and all for good reason. Rob Stark, the absolute Giga Chat, and his wife got brutally packed up. Seeing her get the Birmingham special while being pregnant was beyond vile. And then of course, Rob himself getting packed up alongside all of his compatriots. Honestly though, what a dude, why the would you go to the father of the chick you just dated with your new wife? The same dude who has the reputation of being a scumbag. And on top of all that, even the Bolton family was there. That's like if Stalin and the Mustache Man invited you over to a party. You probably shouldn't go. Well, they did and got brutally packed up for it. Now, with that taken care of, the last 3 events will be nothing but A tiers. There are no F tiers on this list. I made sure to pick nothing but bangers for this video. Having to choose the worst massacres between Order 66, Conquest, and the last 3. Man, I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but we gonna make it through. Next up, you saw it on the thumbnail. I will not sacrifice my dream. The Eclipse. Now, I do have some bias for this one. Berserk is my favorite story of all time. Griffith is my favorite character in fiction. My profile picture is inspired from this panel. This is the most shocking event in fiction, full stop. The entire band of the Hawk got completely wiped out. And unlike most massacre scenes, where it's always random out people you don't care about, bro, Jado, Pippin, and even Corcus all had moments in the story that made us love him, making Guts feel welcomed into the band of the Hawk, celebrating after everything they've gone through the absolute hell of war, nudging Guts to get with the woman you love because he's better for her. All of these memories gone in one moment. And also, unlike the person committing the massacre that we've gone over, you can't blame Griffith either, okay? Now look, I'm gonna make it very clear, I ain't talking about what he did to Casca, alright? More so the point of, bro's life was over. He was stripped of his limbs, his tongue, his face disfigured. Imagine if that was you and then some entity arrived, giving you not only a second chance at life, but also becoming a god. People have done a lot worse for a lot less. Guts fighting all the apostles he could was so metal and so sad to see because it was all hopeless. No matter how many he put down, there was always going to be an endless amount. If it wasn't for Skull Knight, Guts and Casca would have been clipped. The whole essay thing is obviously not good, but made Guts lets his motivation for revenge feel all the more real. Easy A tier. Speaking of someone's motivation feeling real, the next A tier, this is my declaration of war! The Rumbling, of course, guys. This one event, in terms of scale, blows everything out of the water. Once those Titans started moving, it was GG. The footage of their atrocity is just so hard to watch, as you're seeing right now. Even though I agree with Eren in his goal, I mean, like, you know, if I was in his shoes, you know what I'm saying. I mean, be real. The leaders of the outer world wanted to genocide everyone in Paradise. Eren had to do it, but despite that, the amount of civilians who perished because of their leaders' actions, let that sink in, it's a little hard right now, doesn't it? Was heartbreaking to see, especially since it resembles life so well. 7 billion people, give or take, gone in one moment. The Rumbling has to be one of the worst atrocities in all of fiction. And for the last A tier, Zeus! The complete annihilation of the gods of Olympus and Greece. Now, I couldn't get a straight answer from anywhere I searched up. Did Kratos end up destroying the world, or was it just Greece? Because it's pretty complicated. So I'm not sure if it's as bad as the Rumbling, but shit, it was definitely more violent. Kratos wanted revenge against Ares for playing him into packing up his family. No Benoit. Yo, bro, that's crazy. And then the rest of the gods for trying to end him. Playing through all those games, brutally packing up Helios, Hercules, Poseidon was nasty work. But the horror didn't end there. Packing up each god caused a calamity. Poseidon's end caused massive flooding. Hades' end plagued the earth with death. And with Helios gone, everything became submerged in complete darkness. The land itself was cooked, and there was no way any life could come back ever again. Especially since, you know, all the gods who were responsible for life got packed up. So with all these A tiers, who's taken the S tier? The atrocity, the definitive atrocity. For there can only be one. Man, it's tough. It's really between Order 66, the Rumbling, and the end of Greece. Since this list is focused on individual events, everything that happened after Order 66 doesn't really count, because if it did, that's the easiest tier. So between the Rumbling and Greece, I'm gonna have to say the worst massacre of all time is the Rumbling. And I was really close on putting Kratos in the S tier, but it's unclear how bad the situation got, because apparently Egypt was good, and then of course all of the Norse realms. With Eren though, majority of humanity, including all of the animals, got wiped away, and all that took place in one event.